Good morning, good morning. It's a little noisy this morning, so I'll do my best to talk a little bit louder. It's been a couple of weeks here at the Urban Garden Center in Pearl City, and we've had a lot of rain. I didn't come last week, and there's been rain, so the garden hasn't had much hands-on attention, but a lot of things have been happening. So the first garden area I want to show you and talk to you about, it's a new area we're doing, which is the dry zone. So we've had some leaking in the drip system, and so we've decided to just turn the water off in this section, and we're going to have eventually 5 beds in here where they don't get water except when we come once a week, or that rains naturally. So we want to show that you can get some plants beyond the traditional xeriscape type of succulents, cactus, those types of things, that you can, with proper mulching and prep and everything, that you can get some edible crops from it. So not everything that we plant here will be edible, but we are going to try to show some edible crops. So let's take a look at what's happening. So here in this garden, we have some aloe planted on the end. Some people locally will say aloe. Aloe is the same plant. So those have been in the ground, transplanted, I think 2 weeks. What we have here is old corn stalk, so we just chopped it and dropped it to add some cover to it, and just let it go. And then here we have some vinca, which are very, they like the heat. I can't remember what that plant is. So he's growing, and actually because of this corn in here and because of the rain, we're getting some corn sprouting. I think I showed this to you before. This is a lot of fun if you have children. So you can see the kernels on there. They never formed properly, and so we just dropped it down. However, they are sprouting with some rain, but we have a lot of composters going on in here. That's why we have this here, to help break down and add nutrients. But you know, if you have kids in the garden, let things be like this. It's such a treasure trove for kids to explore and learn, and it gets them thinking about processes and how things work together and how to observe. Nature left natural is really, really fascinating, and it's such a good place for kids to just be their natural self. Their brains are going nonstop all the time. Even if they're not talking, they might not talk to you about it. If you ask them, well, what did you see? You know, something, just let them be. Just let them absorb all these new things. And over time, you'll be surprised. Something that you think is fascinating, they don't. And then one day, boom, they'll see something, and so anyways, I highly recommend having a space, if you have a garden or even a pot with some dirt, that you let things be like this in the garden for young children. Yeah. So here we have our another plot. So this is herbs. So this is Cuban oregano or false oregano. It has never been watered by hand. Since we planted it, never been watered by hand. And like I said, 2 weeks of rain. It's really happy. As it gets hotter and drier, the leaves turn more yellow. We've also stuck in here some Thai basil. So there's one there and there's one here. So we shall see. Hi, Calvin. Good morning. I'm here at the Urban Garden Center. I'm in the new area, well, not new area, but it's an area where we had some plumbing problems. So we've shut the water off here, and this is going to be our dry zone. So I'm showing plants that we're starting in here that we are not going to water at all. It only gets natural rainfall. If we come, like during the summer, if we come once a week and we see something is struggling, we will water it by hand once a week, and that's it. So we shall see how things grow. We're going to try to grow some sweet potato. So this bed is being transformed, and I wanted to show you something. So this bucket here is something new. We've got it in each zone. It's sunk down in, and if you can look into this one, there's holes drilled in the bottom and on the sides so that critters can come in and out. And we just, what this is composting in place. So each zone has one of these, and we just put the lid on it. As we pull up weeds or we trim plants, whatever, we drop the green waste in there and put the lid on it. And then this is our way of keeping the greens in each zone, making it easier to maintain. We don't have to walk far away to another pile. So it's something we just started a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to head on over here to this zone. This is not a dry zone, but it has a lot of things. And there's my cardinal, these little buggers. Anyway, so we've got comfrey here on the end, which we use for chop and drop. The sweet potato is looking nice, and so this is the second time we've grown it in this bed. And then this spot here, and this is a different variety than this one that I had grown. These okra were the ones that we didn't like, but I just wanted to plant something in there. This is a red variety, and it's much more tender. This has been here for 2 weeks, and it basically looks the same as when I planted it 2 weeks ago. So we shall see what is going on there. I'll be thinning out all of these wildflowers here that the bees have been enjoying, and the pollinators. This midnight snack. So this is a cherry tomato, indeterminate, and the tomatoes, you can see it's not quite yet in its glory, but they will turn dark purple. And I see one over there, right there, and I see bigger tomatoes over there. So we'll head on over there so you can see what they look like. This nasturtium has just gone crazy with blossoms since the last time. I flipped it outside of the area. Oh, look. This is what happens. There they are. Look how gorgeous they are. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Now they're not ripe. When they get ripe, they will turn red, but they're shoulders. So the shoulders on a tomato are this area up here close to where the stem attaches. So if you look at the bottom, it fades, right? It fades to green. This part will be red in a bit. But this is the midnight snack. They are just, they're more than a novelty. They do taste nice, and they grow nicely. So midnight snack, if you're looking for a pretty cherry tomato that you can brag about, the midnight snack, and it is an All-America seed selection variety. So we have had success with it here in Pearl City in the Urban Garden Center before. It's been grown a couple of seasons before, so I really wanted to plant it again. So really excited about that. And then why does it look so good? I found that with tomatoes, because it's so hot and dry and we don't have that gradual transition like you might have on the mainland, that if I start seeds and start growing things like tomatoes in January, They might get a slow start, but they get their roots down deep and they get really strong root system, that when it's time for them to really start producing, they are strong enough to produce for a long period of time. You can get months and months of production versus a burst of, say, 4 weeks, and then the plant is just struggling. So I'm happy to see how healthy this plant is. It has not been fertilized. It's just using the healthy soil that we constantly top dress with mulch and compost. So over time that works. I've been working this bed in particular for about 3 years now, heavily top dressing it with chunky wood and shredded leaves. So no rich compost has gone in here, and this is the result. It's a slow process, but once it gets started, especially if you start from ground zero and you've just got rocky clay yuckiness, be patient, and nature will do its job. So we've got some really nice eggplant. This eggplant has really kicked into overdrive. I see eggplant all over it. So I have been fertilizing this with a fish emulsion that I spray on it. Past couple weeks it has not because of the rain. We've got this nasturtium here. It looks like it's doing well. It was struggling somewhere else, so I'm hoping that it will do very well. The flowers and the leaves are edible. They have a slight peppery, but most people use the blossoms, the petals. You could just top dress that on a salad or something. It's really pretty, like I said, with a little bite. And things growing here, and we've got another eggplant growing here. Eggplant here in Hawaii can be a tree. You can get years worth of harvests from an eggplant. And you can cut it back hard if it gets too leggy or diseased, and it will come back. So choose wisely where you plant those guys, because they'll be there for a long time. And then we've got our sad corn. They're definitely not a good time to plant corn in the winters, but we had some seeds. We thought we'd just throw it in there, but I think it is much better. I think we'll get better success if we grow some, probably in April, and I think we'll get a better harvest. We're getting another batch of volunteer marigolds, so those are always good, and I see a bunch of green beans. But last thing I want to show you is over here on this midnight snack, because this one is bigger and happier. It started producing fruit sooner. Let's see if I can get to the other side. Sooner than the other one. The other one was leggy because it was caught, it was hidden. So here you go. Do you see that? Look at how nice. So this is about the maximum size that I've seen these get. But they're nice and firm on there, and it's got a lot of fruit on here. And we're gonna try to get it on this panel here that we've made. Over time, that one plant will cover this whole panel. It's an indeterminate, so it will continue to just ramble on and on. And we can train it up on here. And so that's another thing too with tomatoes. You really need to give them their space and prepare and just be patient. Eventually I think that this whole thing will be covered, because it's been covered in the past. So that's what's going on there. I see some nice okra. This is the okra. Same thing as that one on the other side. When they get big, they're still not woody. So if you miss a harvest, miss a week or what have you, it still does well. So anyways, this is the garden. I may pop back on and show you what's going on over there. They have a really sweet Easter setup with somebody painted all these little wooden bunnies and eggs and everything. So I'll have to go over there and do a walkthrough, since we are still closed. Boo-hoo. We're still closed, and the public at large cannot come in. So that's why I really like to do these walkthroughs and show you what's happening in the garden here in Pearl City. Thank you so much, Kelvin, for joining me, and for anybody else who comes on after the live. If you have any questions, please drop them below, and I will do my best to answer them for you. You folks have a great Wednesday.